But now we're going to get to the ones that I'm sure you've heard of. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Nightmare on My Street. For a long time, it had been my understanding that the 12 inches only came in the Jive picture sleeves, as you see right here, and only the 45s had picture covers. But thanks to the miracle of the internet, I've been proven wrong. There are 12-inch picture covers. Freddy's glove ripping through it. Blow there on the back. The 12-inch is the same either way, though. So you've got a couple mixes on here. The instrumental version speaks for itself. You've got the extended mix, which is basically the album version. Good luck finding a difference. I mean, I think it's even roughly the same running time. And one of the B-sides is just the album track, Rhythm Tracks House Party Style. So the extended version is basically the album version. What's interesting here is the single edit, which is on first listen basically the same, but just a little bit shorter, a little bit tighter. But what's interesting is a couple of the lyrics have changed. So this is the original version now. And I was thirsty. I wanted something cool to quench my thirst. I thought to myself, yo, it's heated, the worst. Okay, now you probably remember that lyric, right? But let's go to the single version. And I was thirsty. I went downstairs to grab some juice, so I flipped the TV off, and then I almost choked. See that? A juice and a Coke? That's different. That's not in here. There's a few other subtle changes like that. I don't know if the Coke thing is like product placement reasons. They made a video for this, by the way, but it got shelved. Again, this came out in 1988. New Line Cinema, which owns the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, was coming out with the fourth movie, Dream Master. They saw it as a copyright infringement. So the video got pulled off the air, buried, shelved. Some people online have claimed to have seen the video, but they have conflicting stories of what the video was like. Some people say it was very much like the Parents Don't Understand video, you know, with the cheesy white set and background and done kind of hammy. Other people say it's much more literal depiction of the song. He's in his bedroom, you see Freddy Krueger. Both of them sound like they might just be sort of, you know, like people who swear they've seen the blood coming out of the girl's back in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though they never shot it. You know, it might be slightly psychosomatic. Who knows? Certainly I've never seen it. It's pretty hard to find, and I'd love to see it. Clearly the single edit would have been the one they would have used for the video. So they added these new vocals in. So I don't know, maybe they put in Coke for product placement. There's also one or two other points where they changed the lyrics. That lawsuit happened because New Line Cinema was coming out with their own record. And this is the best picture cover of all. Can you see it good there? Yes, the Fat Boys. Are you ready for Freddy? This had a video, which we aired all the time. It's a great video. The Fat Boys roll up to the Freddy Krueger house. Which, I mean, maybe not the actual Freddy Krueger house from the movies, but it looked pretty good. And they meet Marky D's lawyer, who says his uncle just died, and they have to spend a night in the house to inherit it. And of course, it's the Freddy Krueger house, and Freddy Krueger chases them around the house. But what's cool about it is it was actually Robert Englund in the full Freddy Krueger makeup in the video chasing them around. And so people have speculated that's actually Robert Englund doing the rapping. I don't think it is. If you look at the album credits, both on the 12-inch label, this is the same record, it's just in a plain sleeve, or on the album that it later was featured on, Coming Back Hard Again. They credit background vocals and all kinds of things in the tracks, and Robert Englund's name is not there. The first thing you'll notice, if you're already familiar with the album version, this is the one I imagine most of you have heard. This album certainly sold pretty damn well, after all. This is the one that had the remake of The Twist on it, Louie Louie on it, so it had some big hits. Most of you guys have probably heard this album. This 12-inch version is different. You've actually got a couple mixes. Two key ones. The 12-inch version and the 7-inch version. You've also got a dub version on the B-side. Again, that kind of speaks for itself. And also, as a B-side, the album track, Back and Forth, which is okay. It's a pretty good song. Not one of their best, but certainly not a bad one. The 12-inch version is pretty extended. It's 6 minutes, 48 seconds. And it's got some new stuff. The beat's the same. The Fat Boys raps are the same. It's got some new vocals. It's got a new introduction. Like the girls singing. They've got some new stuff, including a part where they're singing like Freddy, 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 Freddy. You know, that's all new. And most importantly, Freddy Krueger has some new additional raps.
Are you ready for Freddy? Get ready for Freddy.
See, none of this is on the album at all. Now, one of the things I always liked about this song as a kid is that clearly the Fat Boys, or whoever wrote their lyrics, but certainly as a kid, I would have given them the benefit of the doubt that of course they wrote their own. But whoever did clearly watched the movies and was at least somewhat of a fan. Right about now, they're kind of documenting the story of the first one. You know, John Saxon as the father didn't believe that. Later on, they talk about even the sequels, you know. Even in part 3, the Dream Warriors failed, and Mr. Big Time Freddy Krueger prevailed. And there was that part that I'd never forget, what he did to the girl with the TV set. You know what I mean? That's someone who's watched the movies. You know, you don't get that from pretty much all the other ones, and from many movie tie-in raps, you know? Even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle raps and stuff like that. You know, you just get the idea someone said, it's a movie, there's turtles and they're ninjas. Go, write a song, you know? But clearly, you know, how many years is it later since I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street 3? And I remember what he did to the girl with the TV set. These guys have watched the movie. The single version is what the video was. It features all the new material from the extended version, like the new Freddy raps, the additional singing. So it's very different from the LP version, but it's a lot shorter. It's edited down. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince one, is interesting because he actually basically takes the story from Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, there's clearly references to the first one. Especially the end of the song where he calls Jazzy Jeff. He's like, don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep. And Freddy Krueger kills him over the phone. And he says, you know, I'm your DJ now, Princey. Which is, of course, a play on the famous line, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. But for the most of the song, he's kind of riffing on the plot of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Where Freddy Krueger comes to him in his dreams and wants to use his body in the waking world. While Freddy Krueger just pulls the scenes in you know, the subconscious. That's Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which is an interesting choice. And again, quoting the famous line from Part 2, you've got the body and I've got the brains. Of course, in the movie it was more interesting because he pulled not only his hat, but the top of his head off, and you can see his brain pulsing, which really sold the line. I'll mention this too real quick. Nightmare on Elm Street soundtrack Part 5 came out the next year and had some rap on it. Most notably, the original song, Any Way You Want to Swing It by Houdini. Which is a pretty good song, and it later wound up being featured on the Greatest Hits album. Produced by Full Force, most of their stuff was always produced by Larry Smith, and written by Cool G Rap, of all people. And you can kind of tell their flow is different. But they're not rapping anything about Nightmare on Elm Street. But the video, they're in an Elm Street house set, you know, and they got dancers dancing on the stairs and stuff, and Grandmaster D has a turntable set up in the front. And sometimes they look scared, but usually they don't. And they cut away to clips of Nightmare on Elm Street 4. But yeah, the song itself, nothing to do with Nightmare on Elm Street. Cool song, cool video to go with the holiday. But the song itself, no Nightmare on Elm Street. But nonetheless, any hip-hop Freddy fan, you're definitely going to want to own these, man. They're all pretty different. I mean, you could think they're all ripping off each other. And I'm sure a few are. It'd be interesting to know which of these three 1987 ones actually came out first. Have a good Halloween with Freddy Krueger and hip-hop. Alright, that's it. Peace out. Happy Halloween. Epilogue real quick. I forgot to mention Freddy Krueger does make his appearance one more time on wax, or in this, you know, in my case, cassette. Same album, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper. Another special announcement. Ready Rock C, their beatbox at the time, their human beatbox, who also did the voice of Freddy, probably should have mentioned, on Nightmare on Elm Street. He does a little bit of beatboxing as Freddy Krueger at the end of the album, wrapping up at the end of side 1. Play it for you right now. Alright, well, you there, Mike? That's Mike. Who you there, Mike?